Once we understand the concept of rate of change, then we move forward to the concept of slope. Remember, slope is our constant rate of change. Okay, there's a formula you can use for slope. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. You're looking at just picking up a formula and memorizing one more formula. It works. I'm never going to say it doesn't work. You're going to pick up and you're going to look at what is your change in your y's compared to what are your change in your x's. A couple downfalls of the formula is the fact that there's subtraction in there, which, as we're looking at numbers, that might mean to you simply sign changes. That sometimes can cause some problems. So here's some other strategies I can think of to find the slope. We've got two ordered pairs. The first strategy I can think of is just simply draw the picture. Draw yourself a coordinate plane, graph -3, +2, graph 5, 5, and ask yourself, well, how much are the y's changing? So in our picture here, we can see that my y's are starting down at -2, and they're going to go all the way up to +5. How much is that going up? It doesn't matter if we're looking the point starting from -3, 2, or if we're looking at the point 5, 5. How much does that change? We're going from 2 to 5. Well, as I look at this, I can see my rise is a rise of 3. We can look at this two ways. We can look at this as a rise, because I'd prefer to go from left to right, because that's how we do graphs. We can also look at this as actually a fall of 3. That starts off the concept of slope. Then I go on to the same graph, and now I need to look at the run, or the change in the x's. And as I do that, I can look from here all the way over to here. And again, it's not going to matter if I'm looking at top or if I'm looking at bottom. What I'm doing is I'm going from a -3 to a +5. How many units is that on my graph? Well, if I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, my run is 8. If I go up and over, that is a +8. If I go the other direction with this and I go down and back, there's that -3 and a -8. Well, do the math. It's the same thing. Your rate of change, your change in your y's compared to your change in your x's, is 3 to 8. Now if we look at the formula part of this, that the slide's presenting to us here, we can assign -3, 2 to x1, y1. We can assign 5, 5 to x2, y2. And we can put them into the formula. 5 minus 2, 5 minus a -3, to get that 3/8 that we already saw. The other way that I see doing this, if you don't want to draw a picture, if you don't want to memorize a formula, is simply using those arrows that you've seen me do on some other equations as well. How do I get from a 2 to a 5? I have to know that it's rise over run. I have to know that it's the change in my y's and the change in my x's. I have to know that first of all, but once I know that, I ask myself, how do I get from a 2 to a 5? Well, I go 3 units, positive. How do I get from a -3 to a 5? I go 8 units, still that 3/8. Okay, same thing, another example. From -3, -4 to -2, -8. Let's draw the picture. Let's talk about what's going on. -3, -4, -2, -8. Okay, pretty tight down there in that third quadrant. Now, look at the line itself. It's a little bit different than the last one. The last one had a visual appearance that it was going up. The last one had a positive slope. Now I look at this. This has a visual appearance of going down. Hopefully you know that that means we have a negative slope. We now need to figure out what's going on. Looking at the y's, I'm going from a -4 to a -8. How many units is that? Are we going up? Are we going down? Well, we have a rise. I like to see this as going down because I, again, read left to right. As I go down, I'm falling 4 units. Then I have to look from a -3 to a -2. I'm going to the right. Again, I read left to right. From a -3 to -2, my run is going to be a positive 1 unit. Can we do it the other way? Yeah. If I go up, that's going to be a positive 4. And I can go to the left, that would be a negative 1. Still getting me the slope of negative 4 over 1. That negative can go top, it can go bottom, or it can go to the side. Your choice on slope. Let's see what it looks like in formula use here. Assign your x1, y1, x2, y2. Put them into the equation. You're going to see right here we've got some double negatives. What's going to happen there? Hopefully we see a big plus sign happening. Simplify the values, and I get exactly the same thing.